Our vision statement is, Alvin ISD is a dynamic learning organization committed to excellence for all students in every program.
This is an exciting time to be in Alvin ISD. In my years in education, this is the first time I truly believe that we are going to transform our students' learning experiences in the classroom. Our students' needs continue to change, so we need an instructional model that consistently engages our students in meaningful work.
Alvin ISD is unique in that it designs work for the individual student. We all have to teach content. We know that. The state has put that requirement of what we're going to teach. So we're going to teach the content, but how we do it is up to us, and that's the exciting part. We get to teach to the individual student. We design the work that we do for the students based on their needs. Our student is our who, and that's how we design our work.
And although they're getting the content knowledge, they're not getting those future-ready skills, those soft skills in our system.
How are we intentionally preparing students to not only learn the content that they need, but also are we facilitating the skills that students need as they leave our schools and they enter post-secondary education or they enter the workforce?
As educators, we have learned so much over the years about how students learn best, but yet our classrooms really haven't changed much. Our instructional model needs to adjust to meet the needs of our students, but also pushes them to be critical thinkers. And by doing this, we hope that our students will graduate more ready to be able to compete and thrive in a global workforce.
We've been very excited this year in what we've seen, and we realize that it's a work in progress, but even in this short term of a year, we have seen tremendous progress and excitement and higher levels of student engagement, more collaboration, more critical thinking inside of the classrooms.
Forming positive relationships is one of our core beliefs in Alvin ISD, and it's also at the foundation of the engaged learning model. The social contracts that students create in their classroom give them a clear understanding of how to interact with each other, and they're able to practice this in an instructional model that encourages collaboration.
Really want to make certain that we have a solid base for how we're going to maintain and form relationships with our students.
I do not think we could do anything without building relationships.
Okay, what can I do to get to know these children better? What can I do to let them know that I really do care about them as a person?
Without that relationship, without that trust, we're unable to get the students to the point where we feel we are adequately able to prepare them for the future.
It's exciting to see our students mastering learning standards in a relevant way. Within their units of study, students are creating solutions to real-world situations, and so students are staying more engaged in the learning process. So we see our students taking ownership more than ever before.
We've been very excited about that. We're excited about the future of what that entails. We think that the things that we're working on in Alvin ISD truly align to our mission and vision of what we believe in. And more important than that, we just really believe this is right for kids.
It became clear that we as educators couldn't have these conversations in isolation. Through a series of education summits, we partnered with community leaders and business owners, elected officials, and representatives from universities and colleges. And we had a series of conversations about what are the needs of our students and how do we facilitate the development of skills that will make them successful once they graduate from Alvin ISD. Through this collaborative process, Alvin ISD staff members and community members developed the Alvin ISD Learner Profile. This profile identifies 10 skills that our community thinks all students graduating from Alvin ISD should possess.
As we start transitioning to the engaged learning model, one of the things that the elementary lead teachers have been working on is chunking our standards. We have also brought in teachers to look at our cross-curricular charts and asked for feedback, and teachers are really excited to have a place to start designing around and not have to come up with where there are connections between concepts in all of our different content areas.
One thing they've realized too is when you've done that work, when you've done everything up front, it makes your job in the classroom just so much more enjoyable, and they're excited.
We were somewhat concerned about how our students would do on benchmark assessments, and actually they have improved on their benchmark assessments. We have not seen a decline in their scores.
It's almost like they don't even think they're doing work, but it is really work. They're doing more work than they've ever done before.
I've seen them become a lot more independent instead of waiting for the teacher to really direct them.
I think what teachers are going to find, and what I see in Amy, is that this is the job that you wanted to have when you said, I want to be a teacher.
Way that we write these are based on the standards, so we're depicting their standards and how they're used in the classroom and what the students are expected to know, and building the products off of that.
We use the standards of body systems, where students had to know the structures and the functions of all the body systems, and their goal was to create 8 body system books for children. And later, they're going to be reading to the kids at our elementary school.
Our most recent project is called Cupcake Wars, and so we took the standards that we needed to master concerning multiplication and division of fractions and multiplication and division of decimals, and turned that into an authentic experience for the kids.
The challenge brief usually comes from an authentic audience, where they are giving the project requirements as well as the driving question.
I actually contacted the host of Cupcake Wars, Justin Woolman, and asked him if he would record our launch for us that included our challenge brief and the project requirements that the students needed to do for the actual project.
You ready for this? Your challenge is to create the perfect summer fun cupcake for the end of school.
So oftentimes I use the rubric, and I'll go through it with the students, and we'll see where are they and what can we do to raise the rigor so that we can get to the next level.
The rubric, you have words like math terms, and if you don't know them, you have 2 columns that are it's knows and needs to knows. And if you know them, then you put them under knows, and if you don't know them and you need to know them, then you put them under needs to knows, and then you put the needs to knows into questions. And then from those questions, you research it and find out what it is.
In the rubric, it tells us so you can stay on track.
And I think they feel more comfortable telling you what they don't understand and what they do understand, so that you can help them reach their goals.
Sometimes the project could be tough because of the math, because we have to learn the math. Like measurement, multiplying fractions, decimals, dividing fractions and decimals.
The hardest part of a project is finding the information, because it can't be too wordy, because then the people that you're demonstrating it to won't understand, and it can't be too small, because you need to get the information in.
You know, nobody's spoon feeding me stuff, information, so I can go out, find my own information, and then retain it a lot better.
This year it's more we have choices and there are less worksheets. It's not just writing stuff down in your journal, it's getting hands-on.
The students are giving a learner tracking tool, so after they have met the mastery of the standard, they're able to check off those items and knowing that they can move on to the next teeth that they need to master.
We get grades depending on our progress checks and our post-assessment.
She doesn't give us a group grade, but we take progress checks, and that gives us a grade to see what point we're at. It asks you about math, because you're using the math to make the cupcake. So it wouldn't ask you what flavor you're going to make. It's going to ask you fractions times fractions and what they equal. When you can't find what you need, you go and ask your teacher for a workshop, and when she does a workshop, it's more like the traditional school when she teaches you, and it's in small groups. It's of 5 students. We share what we've learned that day, so you get what everybody did that day and how what everybody learned.
If they were doing something off task or something they shouldn't be doing, they give them a strike, and when they get 3 strikes, they get fired, and then that person has to do all the work of the whole group by himself.
You have much more communication with the students, so I feel like the relationship piece has grown with being able to have a discussion with them about their learning and what they're doing on their project and what's important to them.
Before, when she was just at the board, you just heard her talking and stuff. She was still fun, but it's makes it more fun when she's interacting with us.
Engagement has increased so much this year. We have some students who would normally sit there and do nothing, and now they're actually creating projects, collaborating with their group members, taking a leadership role.
I really didn't care about it. I really wanted to know, and then now I'm like, I want to know about all this stuff. Like, I need to know it. It's making math fun and interesting.
Parents come up to me or write me stuff in class that say, my student is actually engaged in what they're learning. They're excited about it.
It doesn't really feel like work,
Doing projects takes some of the boring out of school.
Made me feel good knowing that I did a good job.
I'm more inspired now because I know that I'm truly helping these kids be prepared for when they leave school.
I know this is going to be a challenge.
I can feel the excitement brewing.
But it's also going to be so worth it.